Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Just Jocelyn. I'm glad you could join me today. I have a very interesting guest that we haven't had on the show for quite a while. And, well, you know, there's been pneumonia, COVID, pandemics, elections. I don't know. Shall I go on without raising the ire and, anger of everybody? I'll behave, because this is about Fulchino Vineyard. This is about wine. So we're going to be happy today. We're going to talk about the most wonderful thing you could ever drink. And I'm not kidding. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm very picky. I love Al's wine. I love Pinot Noir. I love a good Cabernet. I don't like white. To be in full disclosure, I don't like white. I like the dark reds. So without further ado, we're going to talk about this lovely vineyard in Hollis, New Hampshire. Welcome to the show, Al.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I am so glad to have you. So talk about why you started the vineyard, why Hollis, New Hampshire. Bring us forward to a couple years ago, and we can launch into the crazy things that have been happening in the past couple of years.
Crazy stuff. Kind of faded away. We fell in love with Hollis as boys, my brother and I. My dad found Hollis, New Hampshire and Silver Lake to be kind of an escape out of the city. Mm-hmm. I grew up just north of Boston, and so that's how Hollis even came on the radar. We've always loved the live free or die attitude and all, and when it was time to raise a family, Hollis was a great place to go to. In my back pocket is family history with winemaking going back 5 generations.
Wow.
Back into Gesualdo, Italy, which is in southern Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So, these kind of one rail here and one rail here, and you're the train and you just drive down a track. And before you know it, you realize that, you're on a track and you're not just meandering through life. So it came time to sell some of our businesses, and we just wanted to reach back to our roots. And we had already bought some land back, 3 decades now ago, and had been making wine for over 4 decades now. And it just was one of those things where it was time to just do the vineyard. So mm-hmm. we planted in 2007, wow. and we built our first small building in 2009, a fermentation room and little wine tastings, etc. So 2010, we started selling wine. And
and it's been crazy ever since.
It's been, so I've had, I guess this is my 4th incarnation in terms of businesses. Mm-hmm. This is the craziest, also the best. It actually accumulated all the attributes of the previous businesses, and all the things I learned are useful in this business. You meet the nicest people.
Yes, you do.
You do start off with a happy atmosphere because mm-hmm. it's wine.
Yes.
Everybody loves wine or wants to love wine, enjoys drinking wine.
Or wants to learn about wine.
Wants to learn about wine, yeah. So
you have wine testing?
Wine tasting.
You do wine tasting?
Yeah. Occasionally we do a dinner. Mm-hmm. We do comedy events.
Yes.
A lot of private stuff. We aren't a wedding venue, but we do some weddings. Bridal showers, baby showers. Mm-hmm. We've had, at the end of the life, you do the celebration of life and things like that. It's been the most humbling business I've ever had, because we get to know people and their lives that sometimes you sit down and you want to shed a tear, because you see and hear the great stories from all these people from mm-hmm. all walks of life, all ages. But at the core of it is, when people come in, our goal for them is for them to eat, drink, and talk to each other.
Yep.
And then provide an atmosphere that is peaceful and attractive to
family-like.
Family-like, yeah.
Right.
Really,
that it's safe.
Yeah. We're not the reincarnation of all things great. We're more of just the Fulchino family. People come in, we identify with each other, because mm-hmm. basically all human beings have so many things in common, and we all have the same stories. And so we end up becoming friends with our customers, too.
That's a very true statement. You mm-hmm. have had quite a few celebrities there. You've had political figures there.
We've had a few.
Like you said, a few weddings, bridal showers, end-of-life celebrations, comedies. I've been to a couple of the comedies. Sure. Fundraisers.
Yeah, we've done fundraisers. But again, it all focuses still, the day-to-day core is the person we don't know coming in. They heard about us, or they drove by and saw a sign, and they come in and they want to sample some wine. And we share with them what our vision of wine is or should be, and we hope that they like it.
So your wine is available locally?
Yeah, we started literally thinking we would all be wholesale. And rapidly, I remember New Hampshire Magazine did a big cover story on us, and we got a little attention here and a little attention here. You were kind enough to give us some good attention, Senator Avard on his TV show as well, and a few others. So before we knew it, people were walking on the property. And, well, what do? Put a table out, and then you take care of them. And then when you needed 2 tables, you put 2, and then the number of tables just grows. So we've got a couple of patios. We've got a pergola area. Sometimes they want to taste down by the vineyard, and when the weather's not so good, inside the main building. So, yeah.
Yep, it's very nice. It's very personable. It's homey. Like the word that comes to me is safe.
Yeah, and you're right. That's a good one. Yeah.
And to me, I'm not worrying about the outside world and all that just, coming up on your back. You can pause, you can enjoy what is going on at that moment with those people in those circumstances, and there's nothing to pull you or concern you. And so to me, family, safe, enjoyable. Those are what comes to me.
And we wanted it to be a place where the grandkids would come, and like there's 2 of them there today. They're helping my wife, which they call Nani, plant a vegetable garden. So it's been a good experience for them because they literally saw us hammer the building together, and they've helped. And sometimes they might carry a tray of bread out to somebody or whatever. And
that's sweet.
So they get to see that it didn't come out of your wallet, that we actually built it, and then they get to see how when we give the customer something that they're happy about, the customer pays you.
Correct.
So now they're understanding a business relationship, and so they don't need to go to college. They can just see the simple basics. They can see what planting is. If they want to go into horticulture, we have very beautiful grounds. If they want to be a viticulturist, we show them how to do the grapes. If they want to be a winemaker, we can show them that. So there's chemistry, there's artistry, there's agriculture,
business,
and there's relationships with people. And the biggest thing that they should do, I tell them, is see the positive in people and smile.
Yes.
And it's so it's a happy place.
It is, definitely. So talk to me about when the pandemic hit. How did that affect your business? I mean, I had gone there a couple of times, and we actually had a couple of Sunday services there, which was
we did
very awesome.
Which I think we weren't really supposed to, but I think the rule was 10 people, and I said that just ain't gonna fly. So we brought more people in, and we were accused of everything, but I have a unique experience or thoughts on the whole thing because we were responsible for a tour group in Italy when everything was breaking.
Correct.
So we're over there. And I like to say that this phone has 5,000 photos and videos of what life was like in Italy when Italy was supposed to be the end of the world. And I can show pictures of us in fish markets and produce markets with thousands of people, no masks. But if you turned on American TV, you saw mask. So anyways, we know the history of what's happened. But so I have a unique experience because even when we came home, the previous president had said no more Europeans could fly to America. Well, we had 36 Europeans on our plane. And I watched them get off and talk to customs. I figured they were all here to help help Dr. Fauci cure the pandemic. And they would get off, and the customs guy would say, "Why are you here?" And they would say, "I'm here for education, travel, family, and work." And I looked at my wife and I said, "Well, what's different?" So anyways, we go home, and my employees all had to be in masks. That's what was told by the law at the time. And you were supposed to do the temperature checks and all that sort of thing. So for me, it was very interesting because I came from being in the country for a month where the world was ending.
Correct.
And we weren't wearing a mask. And then coming here, and we were wearing masks. And we were told 6 people to a table, and no more than the tables are 6 feet apart. So
and wear the mask to the table, but then when you sit down, you can take the mask off.
And then if we put a pub table like this, they're the same height as if they were standing. So no mask here, but if they get up out of the seat, their face was here, now their face is here, they had to have a mask on. if you recall that. So
I
anyway, so
I
that
do
was
recall that.
it was a very tumultuous time, and you had to take the good with the bad. You had to use your common sense, and you also had to, if you had a difference of opinion, you had to respect the people that were fearful of it, because if in their mind they needed this type of security, just like other needs, you respect their needs.
Correct.
So that's what we did, and we got through it. Another fascinating thing was all the other states around us were relatively more locked up than New Hampshire.
Than we were, yes.
So everybody and their brother and mother and father were coming from Pennsylvania,
Yep.
Delaware, New York, Virginia, all the New England states, New York, if I didn't say that, all coming to New Hampshire. So it was just getting more and more ridiculous. And somehow we all got through it. We all got through
Yeah,
it.
I think.
And that was that. So it was great. I hate to say this. It was great for business.
Oh, I'm sure it was. People needed to escape. Again,
the drinking
they had
went
to
up.
be safe.
Yeah.
And where was that? Fulchino's. Where was that? Because
for sure,
it certainly wasn't in some other locations we know about. I mean, that was my choice to go to above any other place because I wasn't going to deal with the insanity that was going on, the anger,
A lot of anger,
the physicality, the way people would go after you. I mean, I'm like 110 pounds soaking wet. I'm not a very big person. I have a big mouth and I got a big personality, but I'm not a big person. And you got to push me pretty hard till I'm gonna come back at you, literally. And I remember going to one of the big box stores. I'm not going to give them the luxury of advertising for them. And I walked in, and screaming at me. You have to put a mask on. Screaming at me, and I'm like, back up, follow your own rules. 6 feet, get out of my face.
I had that happen. We went to a ski resort. We took the grandkids skiing and barely get out of the car, and they were kind of jumping at you. So it was a chaotic time, and I do get if people had a fear, especially early on. People didn't know about the virus.
Correct.
So you have to respect that there's a little bit of a learning curve. Then once the data comes in, everybody make their own choice. But remember, this is America. And in the end, I think we know where everything stands.
We did.
Anyways.
So fast forward, we went through 2020 and an election year that was pretty hot and heavy. We won't go into details, what goes on behind the scenes with us, but talk a little bit about the different people and the candidates that showed up, because that was really exciting. You had Don Bolduc, you had Nikki Haley.
Lynn Blankenbecker as well. That year.
Karen Testerman,
of course. That year, I remember Senator Avard took Rand Paul to us.
That's right, yep.
That was a great time. It was really fascinating. And we had a few other presidential candidates. And then later in the year, we had, I went home one night and I saw a friend of mine on Facebook came up in the feed, don't ever go to this place. And I won't say the name, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It was very rude. It was really a lot of F-bombs and things like that. But anyways, I said to my friend, I said, what is it you're looking for? We need a place to have somebody do a town meeting. And I said, sure. Who is it? It turned out to be Ivanka Trump. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that will make people love me and that will make people hate me. But most of all, what I really despised was when people get shut down, that they can't go say their piece, okay? And like right now, you have our RFK Jr. is saying some great things.
Absolutely.
But then they won't debate him or this or that, or they won't let him talk. I don't like that. If you're a Republican or Democrat,
you listen
as long as you're
to
not
everybody.
a true whack job, you should have a chance to voice. And then
Freedom of speech.
the average citizen goes into the booth, they pull the curtain, and they decide who they want. Anyways, so this candidate's daughter endured a very, very rude, obnoxious, hateful encounter. So I said, here's my place. And before I knew it, Secret Service was there and everything else. And then on that, whatever day that was, it was like a week before the election, maybe the Thursday before, In comes the big Trump bus, and out walks Ivanka Trump. Citizens from all around were there, and it went great. The media from around the world was there, so that was that was quite an experience.
That was super exciting.
And then I think NBC did a one of those shows they do election night, where so we've done that as well, and it's nice. The candidates come through. General Bolduc, Nikki Haley. In fact, Nikki Haley will be there next Tuesday or Thursday, whatever the 27th is, or 6:30. And
didn't you have the what's the name of the lady from South Dakota, the governor?
No.
For some reason
Christy
I thought,
Nome?
Yeah.
She's welcome if you want any pull.
Christy, you can come to Fulchino's.
Sure.
I'm inviting you.
Yeah, come on out, because it's great to hear them up close and personal and see who they really are. And
well, you can't
New
make
Hampshire,
a decision.
What a unique experience this is, to have these candidates come through this state. And for the life of me, I don't understand why the Democrats are dropping the first in the nation primary. I mean, what a gift.
Why would you give that up? That's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. And hopefully they'll rethink what they did. So
I hope so. But if you don't listen to both sides, you're not deciding. You're not looking at facts. You're not researching, and you're certainly not listening. And that's on everything. Because I listen to everybody.
You have to. You have to. Because we can't keep going down this path.
Blindly.
We're really not here to talk politics, but we can't go down this path where we can't talk to each other. When I grew up, I had Republicans in my family and Democrats in my family. And Italian families yell at each other. That's just what they did. But that was just like talking.
Yes.
You did all the stuff, and then you sat down and you had bread
Dinner.
together, and you drank together the whole bit, and everything else was put aside.
Pick it up for another day.
Pick it up for another day.
So lots of people have come there, all walks of earth. Talk to me now about this year. We had the wildest weather.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We had 80 degrees. I think it was in March.
Yeah.
And then we had
bizarre.
that freeze. Now, did that
freeze
affect
is a big
it?
distinction between freeze and frost. So, we had a reasonably gentle winter, which is what you want, because you want the buds on the vines to survive. And we did go through one very cold spell. I think we went down to 14 below, so we were a little bit concerned. But bottom line is, we're all done, we're all pruned, and we're waiting for the season to start. And we budded out, and everything was lush. Just gorgeous. Even the vines that should have been a little susceptible to the deep cold wasn't too bad.
I remember you reporting that.
Yep. And then, so everything was looking beautiful. And we had all our flowers. We do a lot of wholesale flowers. And we literally were taking the racks into our winery every single night, because it was getting down to 34 degrees or maybe 32. And anyways, I forget what night it was, May 17th in that time frame. They were predicting 35 degrees, then 33, then 32. It's like, okay, so I loaded up the spray with potassium, which is a fertilizer, but when you spray it on the leaves, it'll often buy you a couple of degrees protection. So I was out till 3 a.m. spraying.
Oh my goodness.
And then and I'm looking at my phone on the weather, and it says it's going to stay 32, 31, 31, 32, and then it'll start going up at 7 o'clock. So I go to sleep thinking I did all I can do and I should be okay. Felt pretty good. I was like, pat myself on the back. You did it. You're a real legitimate farmer. And I wake up. I walk out of my house where I have a vineyard. And I look, and I can't explain to you what you feel. It's surreal. Everything is dead. So you walk just like you were watching an episode of The Twilight Zone. And you're the only one alive. And you walk around, there's nobody. Maybe a bird is singing. And I walk over to the main vineyard across the street, and everything is dead there. So
dead as in brown.
Dead as in everything just was brown and dropped.
Yep.
Yeah. So all you can do is say, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Pull my hair out? It's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah.
And here's what you know, though, as a person who grows grapes. There are actually 3 buds inside of every bud that we all visually see. The first one is the most fruitful. That's where your crop is going to come from. If you lose that, buried inside there, and hopefully you didn't lose it, is the secondary bud, which will 10 days later, 14 days later, we'll throw another shoot out. We'll have some fruit, but not nearly what you want.
What you had, yep.
But at least it's something. And then if that was to die, there's a tertiary bud, which is foliage only. So I made a phone call to some grape suppliers. I had everything on order in case I had to replant all the vineyards.
Oh, dear.
And, you know, so in your head, you're walking, you're going about your business. You do feel bad for your guests because they want to see a vineyard when they visit you. So you feel bad and you suck it up and you show them pictures of what it should look like and you say you're sorry. And then about 10 days later, you could see little bits of pink showing up here and there. Certain vines were faster than others. And then a day or two later, you actually see a leaf unfolding.
Wow.
So you're into this 14 days, and some vines, I would say 21 days. And so all of a sudden, I got to cancel my orders, don't have to replant. But now what we will do all year is we will retrain all the vines.
Okay.
Because they need to come out at the right spots. So we'll be looking for shoots along the trunk, maybe even just to go straight up and long. Because if we can't salvage any of the arms, the cordons, where the grapes will all come off the spurs, then we will lay down a brand new one. So that's where we are. It is what it is, yeah.
So
it humbles you.
I bet it does. Put you on your knees.
I mean, yeah, you're feeling golden, like, yep, I'm a real farmer and I grow grapes. And then you get a little, you know,
knock on the
head. Yeah,
a wake-up call.
Yeah. You ain't nothing but without the big guy upstairs.
That was not a tap on the shoulder. That was a whoosh, like Mama used to do on the back of your head.
I can't take it personal because all the farmers, they lost, some lost apples because they were flowering at that time.
Yep.
Some lost peaches, some lost cherries.
Well, and just basically, I remember driving down 101 and 101A, and I remember that morning looking at all these brown marshes, brown grasses, brown bushes, brown.
Yeah, just dropped.
And dropped.
Yeah, so we went down to
looking.
28 degrees for 3 hours. And I guess just to give you an example, some people say, well, couldn't they withstand it? Well, in horticulture, if you have a pansy, if you have petunias, and next to it you had impatiens or sun patiens, you could have all three of those, and you get 27, 28 degrees. The petunias and pansies will be just fine because they can withstand it.
But the impatiens,
you know, certain things like that, they just drop. And that's the way the tissue for the grapes are so delicate.
Wow.
They're not meant to shoot out and then have a frost.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, thank goodness it came back. And what are the plans for this summer? What's exciting coming up for this summer?
You know, let's see. We have our typical Sinatra dinner.
Okay.
Franco Corso will be up. If people like Bocelli, he is just unbelievable.
He's amazing.
The biggest event is the Sinatra dinner. That's a once-a-year thing. We have one of the best Sinatra singers in the country, 8-piece orchestra. It's a wine pairing dinner. All the wine is included. It's old-fashioned. People put on a suit coat. The ladies dress up a little bit.
I love it, yeah.
There's no real dress code, but it's a throwback in time. And the Franco dinner is going to be great. We do some comedy. But most of it, again, is focused around our guests that come in and say, just, you know, I just want to have a nice time and sit down.
So how do people find you?
Well, it's all the normal things.
The website?
It's the internet.
Okay.
It's the website. It's Facebook. It's Instagram.
So that'd be
Fulchino.vineyard.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just the normal
and just
stuff.
Go from there.
We're not competent enough to be super. We're talented, but we're just only so much time in a day.
Well, there is, and what's important.
Yeah.
What is important is the people. It's the experience. It's not how many hits. It's not going viral. I mean, it's, you know, that's nice. But realistically, for you, people like me, it's not the hits. It's not the huge numbers. And I'll say that a million times a day.
Business.
If I reach one person, I'm happy. If I reach 2 people, I'm ecstatic. I reach 10 people, I'd be over the moon. The same is for you. It's about reaching people, having a relationship, having a conversation.
Correct.
In your case, sitting down, having some wine and an appetizer, and maybe a show, depending on what it is. So I am so excited that you could spend time with me today.
Honored that you would have us.
Love to have have you back. We're gonna talk some other subjects in a little while.
Okay.
And when that time comes, give me a jingle, and
Okay.
we will share with you, Nashua, and the rest of the world, what's going on in Hollis, because it's happening in a lot of our little towns, and we need to be aware. We need to be aware that vineyards can get frostbite and freeze and lose them, but you also have to understand we need to know what's going on in our towns so that we're aware of everything going on in our world.
Sure.
So thank you so much. I hope to see you
Appreciate
again.
it. Thank you so much.
So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Don't forget, on Wednesday, we have a brand new show, The Body Within, Healing Within. And Thursday, I'm going to have Sarah Ibanez, and we're going to raise the roof on that one. Have a great afternoon and a great night.